A very good morning to all. Today, let's start this class with a new chapter, chapter number 23, and the name of the chapter is Democratic Government. So, here in page number 194, you can see the big idea. So, here there are few topics that we will be covering in this chapter, and the topics are what is a democratic government and the elements of democracy. And here in Newsmaker, you can see the picture of Abraham Lincoln. So, he was the 16th president and he was one of the greatest president of the United States of America. And he practiced law before becoming a politician. And he also abolished slavery in USA. And he defined democracy as the government by the people, of the people and for the people. So, this was about Abraham Lincoln. So, you know the form of democracy that is practiced in India is known as representative democracy. However, the earliest form of democracy that was practiced in Athens, Greece was known as direct democracy. So, in this democracy, the citizens, they directly take part in decision making, and the longest standing democratic leader in ancient Greece was Pericles. So, here you can see the picture of Pericles. So, let's understand what is a democratic government. But before that, let's be familiar with this term government. So, government is derived from a Latin word which is known as governor, which means to guide or to govern. So, here the government is the body that runs the country for people to live and work together. And here the government, it works to fulfill the needs of the people and to resolve conflicts among them. So, every country needs a government to make laws, to control the society and to make policies and plans for the welfare of the people. So, we can define government as a group of people that makes laws and manages a country is known as government. And we have already discussed in the previous class that the types of governments are democracy, monarchy and dictatorship. So, next let's understand what is a democratic government. So, democracy is a form of government where the people, they have the right to participate in the functioning of the government, and this is done through the process known as elections. So, elections are periodic, that means it is held after a fixed period, and in elections the people, that is the citizens, they cast their votes in favor of their candidates, and the candidates who gets the maximum votes are elected, and these elected representatives forms the government. So, this type of democracy is known as representative democracy. And you all know that India is a sovereign and democratic republic. Here sovereign means India is free and independent country where no foreign powers are allowed to interfere both in internal and external matters of the country. And republic means where the head of the state is directly or indirectly elected for a fixed period. So, India is a sovereign and democratic republic. Next, let's understand the elements of democracy. So, there are three main features of democratic form of government, and they are: the first one, right of the people to elect their leaders. So, all the citizens that is above the age of 18, they have the right to elect their leaders through the process known as elections. The second one is right of the people to express their views freely regarding the policies of the government. That means in a democratic form of government, people are given the freedom to express their views and opinions regarding the policies of the government. The third element is right of the people to change the government. So, here if the citizens are not satisfied with the current government, then they can change it. That is, in the next election they can elect another government. So, this was about the three main features of the democratic form of government. So, let's understand few elements of democratic form of government. So, in a democratic form of government, the people, they elect their leader by voting in elections, and the elected representatives, they take decisions on the behalf of the people, and while making the policies, the government makes sure that the policies and laws will help the people to live a better life. And in a democracy, the government is elected for a fixed period, and at the end of this period, again elections are held. And here, if the people are satisfied with the current government, then in the next election, they may re-elect them. And if they are not satisfied, then they may elect another government. And in India, elections are held after every 5 years. And in the election process, the Election Commission of India plays an important role. Here, Election Commission of India is a permanent and independent body that was established by the Constitution of India to ensure free and fair elections in the country. And here the Election Commission announces the schedule for elections, and on the day of election, the citizens, they go to the polling booth to cast their votes in favor of their candidates. And all the citizens, that is above the age of 18 and whose names are there in the voting list, they go to the polling booth to cast their votes. Here, polling booth is a booth or compartment with one side open in which the voter at a time casts their vote. So, the citizens, they cast their vote, and the candidates who secure the maximum votes are elected, and these elected representatives forms the government. So, this was about electing representatives by exercising the right to vote. There are 3 types of elections, and they are general elections, midterm elections and by-elections. Here in the general elections, elections are held for all the seats of the lower house of legislature after a fixed period, and in the midterm elections, elections takes place before the completion of the fixed period because of certain reasons. And the third type is the by-election, and these elections are held only for 1 or 2 seats, either because of the death or resignation of a member. So, these are 3 types of elections, and they are general elections, midterm elections and by-elections. So, this was one of the element of the democratic form of government. And another way of participating in the functioning of the government is expressing public opinions through mass media like writing in newspapers and magazines, electronic medias like televisions and radios, and sometimes citizens also use different methods such as signature campaigns, strikes, rallies, protests and dharnas to draw the attention of the government and also to show their grievances. Here grievances means formal complaints, and signature campaign means to gather signatures to support initiative. So, this is another way of participating in the functioning of the government. Now, as citizens of a democratic government, people should do certain things, and they are: the first one, always exercise their right to vote. As we have discussed, all the citizens above the age of 18 have the right to vote. So, they must exercise their right to vote. The second thing is that people should vote for the candidate before reading or understanding his or her manifesto. So, here manifesto is a public declaration of aims and policies of a political party or of an individual before the elections. So, people before voting, they must understand the manifesto of a political party or of a candidate. Next thing is that people should always stay in touch with the happenings of the country, and they should always be aware of the policies of the government. So, these are few things that people should do in a democratic form of government. So, this was the second element. Now, the next element of a democratic form of government is accountability. Here, accountability means to explain, justify or to take responsibility of one's action. So, here the elected representatives, they must be accountable to the people if they are found to be corrupt, dishonest or irresponsible. That is, they should answer to the people. And here the judiciary, that is the court and the police, deals with them later. So this is one of the element of democratic government. Now the next element is freedom. So democracy is incomplete without freedom. So the democracy can be true only when certain rights and freedoms are given to the citizens, such as freedom of speech and expression. Next one is freedom to practice any religion of their choice. Next freedom is the freedom to live or travel anywhere within the country and to take up any job in any part of the country. So these are few freedoms and rights given to the citizens of the country. Now these freedoms can be enjoyed by the citizens within the limits of law and without harming the interest of other member of society and community. So this is one of the element of democratic government. Now the next element is resolving conflicts. So you all know that people from different religion, region, race, they live here. So there's a major chance of conflicts among them, and it is the duty of the government to step in and resolve the conflicts. For example, interstate disputes, that is the disputes between the states for sharing natural resources like the river water. So here the central government tries to resolve the conflicts in a peaceful manner, that is through dialogues and negotiations. Here dialogue means a process where two people or two groups, they have discussions to resolve the problem, and negotiation means a process where the people or groups, they come or they reach an agreement. So the central government tries to resolve these problems in a peaceful manner. Now the next element is equality and justice. So equality means the state of being equal, that is where all people are considered equal, and justice means it is the quality of being fair, that means fair treatment to the citizens. And here these two values are the main foundation of the democratic form of government. And Indian society can progress only when all people are given equal opportunities in all respects, irrespective of their differences. And for this, the government has taken many steps, such as special efforts are being made to promote education among young girls and also to improve the condition of the women in our country. And the government also uses its laws to provide or to promote justice and to remove the differences between the rich and the poor and the backward and the advanced sections of the society. So these are few elements of the democratic form of government. Next, let's have a look on the Great March on Washington. Now here, this is the picture of Martin Luther King Jr. and this happened in the Great March on Washington, or we can say the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom for African American, that took place in Washington DC on 28 August 1963, and it was the largest political rally for human rights in the history of United States. And here more than 200,000 people, they marched together in support of civil and economic rights. So here civil rights are those rights that guarantee equal social opportunity and protection under law, and economic rights mean right to work, right to receive fair wages, safe working condition and right to form trade union. So this march was in support of civil and economic rights, and a majority of them were African American and the remaining were the white supporters. And it was at this march that Martin Luther King Jr., he gave an iconic speech, that is, I have a dream. And the next year, Civil Rights Act was passed, followed by the Voting Rights Act a year later. So this was about the Great March on Washington. So with this, we have completed this chapter. Next, you have an activity. The question is, Do you think the Great March on Washington rally was successful? You have to answer why or why not, and then you have to submit in teams. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.